superpro.ai. I'm your host, Gaurav Tripathi, CEO and co-founder of superpro.ai. And as you know, in protalks we are bringing our amazing super pros, super professionals from different fields, people who have worn different hats in their lives, people who have achieved a lot, people who have seen success and failure up close. That's our intent, to bring these super pros in our pro talk so that everybody gets to learn something from their experience. Today, I have another amazing super pro with us, Sumit. So hi, we will start with his introduction, and then we'll dive deeper into his journey. So for those who are watching us live on Super Pro or on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, you can put in your questions in the comments. We will take this question towards the end of the session, but you can keep entering your questions in the chat, whichever platform you are watching it from, live from. And those who would be watching so if you are watching the recording some time later, yes, you will be able to reach out to Sumit, because Sumit is a super pro. His super pro page link will be there in the description and in the comments on different platforms. So with that, I start today. Sumit, over to you, your short introduction.
All right. So I'll basically talk about the IT experience. Basically graduation from business right in '96, and it was a jerky start. Because it was not very well thought of initially. What I wanted to do. So I got into business development, and after 1 year, I realized that web was happening, then software coding was happening. Uh, you know, and a lot of shops that wanted web developers so I decided to move into that. I thought it was a knowledge industry. It is still a knowledge industry, and it keeps evolving all the time. So it sounded exciting to me, felt exciting to me. And so from being a web developer initially for a few years, where I did open source coding from PHP, MySQL,
Interesting.
I was doing, complete website development, and content writing was a part of it. And in BIT also, I was a part of the creative arts group. And then, the writing took precedence, and I found it very interesting. So, I decided to make it my, career. And some challenges were there, right? I moved into tech writing, did it for 4 or 5 years, and you kind of get branded as a tech writer, right? So breaking out of that mood was a challenge. So people wanted you to be like a senior writer or a principal writer. You write well, why don't you do it? Right? But I wanted to move into project management and those kind of stuff. Wanted to do new things basically, right? So from there, I moved into project management. Did it for around 5 to 6 years. I was a part of the documentation practice in Mindtree. I was leading that basically as a side, job, and also the project manager over there for a couple of months. Right after that, I moved to Pune and came back, and that's the time I decided I wanted to work from home, basically take projects. Right, people were giving me feelers that can you do this or can you do that, and I was getting good business. Right,
Interesting.
right. So last 2014 onwards till today, right, I have been working from home.
Wow.
Right. So, one advice, people currently, the corona and thing is happening, and, a lot of problems coming in with health, psychological issues, and a lot of news about violence and all that coming in, family disruptions and all, right? So, one advice I would give you is that, it takes around 6 to 8 months before you settle down in a routine working from home, right? And then you find your niche. So basically, you work for a few hours, take a half-hour break, a 45 minutes break, go out, have a cup of coffee, have a chat with friends, come back and sit, and it cannot be happening all the time. So you have to switch off. I normally switch off my laptop at 7 o'clock in the evening, and
Wow.
don't take any unnecessary calls unless until it is very important. So after that it's family time, and I want to spend some time with my son who's in 10th standard. He'll be giving his board this year.
Cool.
And one of the reasons I stayed at home, my wife is also working, and she goes to office, and my son was growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought,
Interesting.
I can earn from home, and I can be a kind of a good father to him and bring him up. So it's been 7 years of
Wow.
tough job for me.
Wow. 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 Yeah, we'll come back to that. In fact, now you mentioned you started as a techie, and then came. So
Yes.
what made you go to, so from being a techie to being a writer? Yeah.
No,
What prompted?
Gaurav, I think it's more to do with your comfort level
Hmm.
and what you're good at, right? I mean, you want to. I mean, there was a lot of this thing, kind of a statements from my friends that you are an engineer from BIT Misra. Why do you want to do writing? Right? It's not a core job in IT, right? But recently, I was very happy last 6 7 years, right? The way digital marketing and Facebook campaigns and social media and those things have come up, and content has basically taken a kind of a ROI role,
Interesting.
right? You get business by writing good content. So so I did a good stint in one of the edtechs that was founded by my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I started with digital marketing and kind of working with the dev and product team and graphics and design and content team. So I was basically managing the team, and also was hands-on, working with. It was a good experience, and and people found it useful, right? Because a lot of times, they don't have an idea, they kind of just put in content on Twitter, they put in content on Facebook page, but they are not able to make that content reach to the right people, to the right audience. There's no engagement happening, and people are not coming back to you saying, okay, hey, if you're kind of doing a coaching shoot, they're not asking for, can I, what is the sport, can I join?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those kind of, the leads are not happening, right? So it was very exciting, the way content has taken center stage now. It's a good thing to happen.
Interesting. Interesting. But how did this transition happen exactly? How did you, what effort did you need to put in into to get started on to writing?
Um,
Or even how easy or difficult was it for you?
no, no, no. It was not easy, Gaurav. It was very difficult. And I was not a trained writer, right? I don't have a degree in English. I don't have any qualification in English. I never took a qualification in English. But I happened to read a couple of good books. Right? For example,
Interesting.
on writing well, and there are a couple of other books on editing and all that. I kind of read, and from there, one of the decisions I took after when I came to Bangalore, I decided that I joined a startup. I was basically the seventh employee of the company, and the company grew to be around 350 people in 3 years. But everybody, like English is something, people think that they have a fair idea, and when you write and show it to the team, everybody chips in with a comment, and unless until you're trained in writing, you cannot say confidently, no, 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 this is the right thing to do it this way. And that's the time when I decided to join a big team at Lucent. We had
Interesting.
70 odd writers,
Mm-hmm.
and they had processes. They had almost, when you joined them, they had around 3 months of training in writing, information mapping. And information mapping is something I'm certified on. I still use it to. one of the best ways of presenting information in the world. And it's been developed from cognitive learning and the way to present info. It's been developed after almost like 20 years of research, right? So very easy to write, and there are 6 maps, and there's a way to present all of them. All content in the world can be written in that format. Very exciting, very interesting actually. So that's where I worked almost in Lucent for 3 years, 1.5, 3 years, and that was a learning I took. That gave me the confidence wherever I went. I could say that confidently, okay, this is a way to do it, present it in this way. And the managers used to like it. I mostly work with directors and chief executives, and they are very demanding. You know that. So,
Yeah, definitely.
So that also kind of motivated me to learn more. I basically I'm a big fan of the books that are published by U.S. universities.
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore, I went to Gangaram and got around 10 or 20 of them, including project management in documentation by Joanna Hackos. I read it end to end.
Wow.
And, it was almost like putting in around 6 to 7 years of effort. When I say that, okay, this is the way to do it, I know this is the way.
Oh, definitely, I totally see it. Yeah. And so again, in terms of the work that you had, so you started in development. There was a certain flow, so project management, and then coming to writing and project management on the writing side of things.
Yes.
Where do you see commonality? Is that the experience that you had on the technical side of things? Did it help you some way in on this side of things?
You know, 4 years at BITS, right? BITS Mesra, and the technical, the 3 or 4 years I spent initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
It moves you into a kind of a person who is willing to put in that effort. Doesn't mind that, right? I mean, you don't break down,
Mm-hmm.
and you go at a little bit extra. You want to do extra, you want to put it into effort, and that becomes kind of a habit, right? So that helped me, grow me in writing and project management. And of course, there were mentors thoroughly all around. I got good mentors. When I was working in Delhi, I was a part of the quality assurance team, and we were doing CMM audits, and I was a
Yeah.
part of the audit team. And I had mentors there, and they used
Uh-huh.
to teach me how to write a document in a process or something like that. And then when I went to Bangalore, I worked with Pramod Jaju, if you know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I worked with him for 3 years. I was reporting to him. And he's a thorough documentation person. He knows what he wants. And he'll say, do it right the first time. I don't want to see any mistake. Right. Then when I went to, a couple of other technical writing
So
meetings.
sorry, I'm interrupting you. I wanted to understand from a project management perspective, where do you see the similarities in these two, or how these two are different?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, one of the things I know in software, estimation and project management is you do it. One of the ways to do it is, by seeing the lines of code in the productivity in the lines of code.
Mm-hmm.
So the productivity of the programmers for any particular language and how many lines of code they can write in a day. Or for example, testers, how many kind of test cases they can run, right? So in documentation or content writing project management, right? Look at the number of pages, right? And there are industry standards, right? Normally it says that if you have around 60% content leverage, you can do 3 to 3.5 pages a day,
Interesting.
right? Not more
Interesting.
than that. And
Interesting.
that is draft. That is draft.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is technical review, there is editorial review. Then, if required, there is a legal review. if it has legal impact.
It yeah, okay.
Then you estimate, how many number of pages, you have to do based on, simple, medium, and complex features. And there's a kind of a standard, simple features will take this many pages
Mm-hmm.
with images. Middle complexity features will take this many pages with images, and
Wow.
complex features, right? So you come up with the number of pages, and you know that you can do how much content leverage content you're getting in advance, and based on that you can come up with estimate how much it will take to complete all the pages. Then you do the resourcing part.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, let's say, if you do the draft in 20 days with one resource and you have to do in 10 days, then you need two resources. Of course, it's a matter of billing, because marketing is
Yeah.
already putting pressure on you, but but you don't want your resources to burn out, right? So kind of
True.
little balancing act you
True.
have to do over.
True. 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 Okay. So when you started with the technical writing, but as I see it, you started writing about other topics as well. So how did that happen? Did you realize that, oh, you can write about other topics, or you always wanted to write about other topics?
Um, it happened on instinct basically. I have been a very avid reader, right?
Mm-hmm.
My parents are professors, and if I show you this room, two of the walls are full with books, and everywhere
Wow.
there are books. My mom is philosophy, and my father is genetics and biochemistry and all.
Wow.
And my father is, he had a very good habit, right? I mean, we used to subscribe for Reader Digest. He used to get all the kind of book of knowledge, book of facts, and stories, classics, and we used to read Tintin and then Sidney Sheldon or whatever, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so all that thing, and books on philosophy, books on spirituality, which my mother has a lot of it because she's into philosophy, right? So I then you kind of, once you can experience in life, right, you have a kind of a opinion about a lot of things, right? And when you validate it with certain books that you have read, you become confident. Okay, this is what I can say on my blog, and these are the topics I can write on.
Yeah.
And lifestyle and fitness is very close to my heart, because it's a big question mark in the IT industry, right? I mean,
Yes, definitely.
people have burnt out, people have lost health, they have multiple issues, then families kind of going under a lot of pressure because of raw kind of imbalance work life, right?
Yes.
So all that, kind of managing all that, and so you need to be a little patient,
Mm-hmm.
understand where your priority lies. So of course, people decide where their priorities lie. But I have my own opinion, and I kind of put all that on my blog.
Interesting. So, how do you see it? So for people who are out there who are probably engineers, very much like the way you were at that phase of life where they are engineers and they think that, okay, will they be able to come to this side on the technical writing, or what would be the way? So any advice for people, those who want to transition from the development side of things to technical writing?
Uh, Gaurav, thing is, language is something that you cannot develop overnight,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, I had a very interesting experience. I was taking some coaching class for tech writing students, and there were civil engineers working on sites, right? So I gave them one page to write, and I understood that it's going to be difficult for him, right? And he was kind of like, no, I want to crack an interview. So we got him interviews, but he was not able to get. So, you need to kind of mold them slowly,
Interesting.
right? Kind of, I told him that, why don't you start with TOEFL or IELTS, and, kind of
Mm-hmm.
go through it, try to understand, and, go through certain, there are good GRE books that are there. for understanding, what words are, etymology. Then word power made easy by Norman Lewis. Everybody knows that, right? So those kind of books you need to read. And I would suggest, I think that it will take around 1.5 2 years of effort, not more than that. So it's not nothing to be disheartened if you're not kind of very good at it. I was not good at it initially, right? I mean, I had my very poor feedbacks, and it was kind of papers were thrown out of the door. So I would suggest that you work on it, be patient, don't lose heart. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and tunnel is not very long. So,
So true.
For example, look at my case. I transitioned to digital writing, so I did a Udemy HubSpot entire course. I did Google Garage. I did. Then there's certain other courses which I did where I understood about hashtags. Then watched a lot of videos on YouTube by experts on how to do Facebook campaigns.
Interesting.
Whether you want to do videos, whether you want to do text, or whether you want to do images. What is the right, where it has to go, and all those things. Right? So you need to spend the time, and you need to find time, because if you anyway, also that IT is evolving, right? We are talking about IoT, AI, ML, those things now, and another 10 20 years it's going to, the landscape will again change, and new paradigms will come.
Right.
So you need to keep abreast, keep yourself updated.
Right.
And
so
that requires a little bit of effort. So if you can put that effort, it's not too much to ask. Little bit a day. Let's say if you do 1 hour a day or 1.5 2 hours a day, 6 to 8 months you'll be there.
Yeah, it's the small steps, but consistent small steps that take you far. Yeah.
Consistency is very important.
Yes. Yes. Very interesting. So, Smith, here so we have spoken about the transitions. Now, with every transition, it always happens that at times things will go wrong. Not everything will go the way you anticipate or you plan. So, in your transitions, what are some of the failures that you had to face? What are the kind of blockers that you had to face along the way?
Unless until you're very certain in the initial years, what you want to do, right? Where the people are very passionate about Java, and the whole life they are doing Java and moving project management, or kind of a guru role if they want to. But initial years are tough, right? Because first thing is you don't know too much when you start working, right? There's a lot of trainings happening. Maybe trainings may not be happening, and you may be required to read on your own, and then kind of put it on where you're doing your job. You kind of want to show it over there, right? So initially, as a tough for me, like when I was working in Delhi, right? 2003 was a bad year for IT. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
A lot of companies I was working for closed in 2003, and that's when I got calls from Bangalore, and I moved to Bangalore because getting jobs in Delhi was a problem at that time. So, I had to kind of switch gears to save my job. At that point, I thought, saving my job was an important thing, right? Because you didn't want to be out of the company, and everywhere left and right, people are getting fired, right? So I was able to do that, but in retrospect, I think I should have chosen my calling, and I should have stuck to that. Right? When I said that I was doing writing, and moving into kind of a CM role, although it was a good learning and helped me in Lucent, where I did trained the entire team on TL 9000 audits. Good thing to happen, but kind of lose focus and move, little wayward. If you can choose your calling, but it's difficult to do that because a lot of people don't do it for a lifetime. They're frustrated. They don't understand what they want to do. But what they're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
People are kind of waylaid by what other people are doing, what is in demand. Even they are not good at it, they have to put in a lot of effort. So if you kind of find something you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
you become very comfortable with it, and it's not tough after that, right? If it's your innate talent, you can find that, and you are comfortable with that, things become very easy after that,
Interesting.
right? So
Interesting.
everybody has an ability, right? Not everybody is made to do the same thing,
True. True.
right? So you need to kind of understand what you're good at. Think about it, do a lot of introspection. Don't get kind of waylaid
Mm-hmm.
by what the market is saying or what is in
Mm.
demand. What you are good at, right? And at the end of the day, it affects your health, it affects your family.
Mm. Very interesting. And so, with earlier you were touching upon the topic of mentors, that you had people around you who could help you with it. So now, um, so for people who are looking to change roles, go through a transition, what what do you recommend to them in terms of finding mentors? Yeah, how should one go about looking for a mentor? And again, uh, even when you let's say take an advice from someone, yeah, uh, should you just follow it, or you should take it with a pinch of salt? What's your advice on that?
Look, Gaurav, I have been fortunate to find mentors in my team, right? People I have reported to have been very passionate about what they are doing.
Hmm.
They had good knowledge about it, and you should understand that you have to learn. There's nothing
Interesting.
about a pinch of salt or
Mm.
feeling bad about it, right?
Mm.
Even if they are kind of a little brusque and say that you don't
Mm.
know this, ask them what is the right thing to do. Software this documentation estimation was something which I learned in the year 2010,
Mm.
very late, right?
Yeah.
But it helped me after that. I when I went into project management, it helped me a lot, and it was given to me by a peer.
Interesting.
Not a very senior guy, right?
Mm.
It was given to me by a peer where I was working. So you can learn from anybody. You can learn from anybody. People are good at a lot of things, and if you find something interesting, good to go and ask them, how we do. When they have time, talk about it and
Mm.
discuss things, right? Because discussion opens a lot of doors, and a mentor will be normally within your company, within your team, somebody senior, somebody superior, and you can always senior people have seen that they're busy, but when
Mm-hmm.
they have time, they're very very gentle and explain things in a very good way to people. So I worked mostly with them, lot of them, and I found them to be very. So you'll find it within
Interesting.
your team. You'll find it within your company. You'll find it within your team, or you can find a mentor
Mm-hmm.
through a book. You can find a mentor through a video. A lot of videos on YouTube. It depends who inspires you more, right, and what you want to.
So true. So true. And so we spoke about failures, but what are things which you see as something which will help you, or which will make a difference, between success and failure? What are these three things that you would want to highlight?
That's a tough one. Difference between success and failure. Um, I would say it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. I mean, it's nothing like uh, you know. You give your best shot. Make a lot of effort. Deliver what you want to deliver, and at the end of the day, you get the result. In whatever way you have to get it. It's okay to fail, but you need to learn and kind of analyze why you fail.
Mm.
Right? What was the reason? What feedback was given to you? What the superior wanted and what you have given that to your manager or to your team lead or to your whoever is the boss, right? Because people who are running the show, they understand exactly where they want to go. They have a broader vision of things, right, which is not normally percolated to the very bottom of the crowd all the time,
Yeah.
right? So, when they tell you that, don't kind of get uh, angered or kind of, no, I think this is the right thing to do. They will listen to that, but again, they have a better idea because firstly, they have spent more years than you doing that thing, running the show, and they understand what the tricks and trades of a job are or an art are, right? So it's good to understand and kind of focus. It's okay. Politely ask them, can we do it in this way? Maybe you have a better idea. They will appreciate it. I have seen most of them appreciating, if you can kind of give them a, okay, yeah, I think, so they will kind of, oh, yeah, yeah. So I think this is a good way to do it, right? So why don't you go ahead with it? So, that's my take on that, right? Success happens, but failure is not something you have to be demoralized about or kind of, sitting upon.
Interesting. So coming back to writing, so since you have been at it for so long, is there a method, a framework, or anything that you have come across or which you have been able to develop, which makes your life easier?
Yes, you don't write muses all the time, right? Don't just bang in keyboard and write something, whatever you want to write, doodle, doodle, doodle. So, there's a method to writing. There's a method to content writing. There's a method to article writing. There's information mapping. There's data. There's so many things, the way to present information, the right grammar. People say, oh, that's just the way you write. I write it this way, but there's a correct way to write. Right? There's a right way to write it, and people have told you, that's the way to write it.
Yeah.
So all the standard books you'll read, you will write it in the same manner, right? So, yeah, there are methods to write. For example, if you want to write an article, let's say one-page article, right? So there are two ways to do it. Normally, I'll just explain briefly. Now, first thing is if you get given a topic, right? How do you start, right? And if you don't have an idea about too much idea about that topic, right? And you don't have a literature in front of you. For example, if you go for an interview, right? Or you have to write an article at the test center. You don't have literature in front of you. You don't Google and find out all the details or kind of recycle the article and put it on paper, right? You don't do that, right? So you can brainstorm, right? Come up with as many ideas you have about the topic. Normally, they are not too tough unless until you write something esoteric or very scientific where facts have to be written. Right? Normal article I'm talking about. So you brainstorm and kind of segregate all the ideas you have written into chunks.
Okay.
Let's say 3 to 4 chunks, right? And kind of organize them. Give them label and expand it. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is write the headings of what you want to write about the topic in a sequential manner. And then think and sit and write little bit about that, expand on it. So that's another way to do it, right? In technical writing, information mapping and data is used very extensively. People know about it. There are experts out there. I'm not an expert at data, so I don't know too much about that. But there's a way to present information over there, right? So there are methods. There are methods. There are rules. It's nothing like you just bang in a keyboard and just write something and not like just one liner in an email where I sent it across. And even that's a bad thing to do, because that there's a proper way to write an email, and so you need to put in a hi at least and ex- properly explain what you're trying to say, unless until something very short and simple. There are methods to and rules to write.
Interesting. So when did you start your blog, and what was the so one is, when did you start your blog, and then follow up to it, I'll ask right away, is what how has that blog helped you in any way? Yeah.
I started blogging, I think, in 2008, where I had my first
Wow.
blog, and it was titled donkeysden.in, and it had all these spiritual articles written over there, and people used to say, "Why have they named it Donkey's Den? It doesn't look like a donkey's den." So it was live there for almost like 2-3 years. After that, I put it down, and I was not doing too much of writing on that.
Mhm.
So after that, I started kind of segregating what I want to write on.
Interesting.
Right. So I had ideas about cinemas. Why cinemas don't connect.
Mhm.
How has the music quotient gone up? The loudness quotient has gone up.
Mhm.
So in a short time and make a lot of money and get out of the market, right? So nothing
Yep.
goes there for 50 weeks. You make money, you make money in 1 week and get out of
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah, very
So
much.
that's the way, right? And people enjoy that, come out of it, and gain nothing out of it. Given the kind of impact cinema has on society, right? That's very big disservice, they are doing actually by putting in, all those things in the movies. Then, spirituality, because I read a lot of books, and you become little spiritual with age, right?
Hmm.
Go through so many things that only God can help you, right?
That's so true.
You realize that only God can help.
Yes, 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 yes.
So,
And
and fitness,
at times that's what happens. Like you even wonder that there is a situation where something is happening and you are in the middle of it, and then things all of a sudden they come back on track, and at that time, yeah, you have to think, okay, there is a God who is helping
there
probably.
is something out there, right?
Yeah.
So, and health and fitness is very close to me because I get bothered by what I see. Normally when you meet people around, and
Hmm.
Bangalore, I've been there for almost like 17 years. Uh, I don't want to leave it because my wife and in-law are still there, and I
Hmm.
want to keep. My parents are here in Patna, so I have to keep moving between
Hmm.
Patna and Bangalore, and that's one of the reasons I have to work from home. So health and fitness, I see kind of disease, kind of sickness, very simple things like obesity, things like BP, diabetes,
Hmm.
leading to heart and renal
Yep.
problems, all those
Yep.
kind of stuff happening, and it impacts them, it impacts the job, it impacts the family, impact their finances, and that I felt a lot about it, so I started writing on it. I did a lot of research. I took articles. I took permission from people who wrote articles to publish on my blog.
Hmm.
Put in over there. One of the things that's very close to my heart is psychiatry and psychology, and I am a big fan of psychoanalysis. And
Oh.
I had the pleasure of meeting one of the persons who's no longer there, and he was a psychoanalyst, and he had given a lot of lectures in the United Nations on that. So very senior guy, very old guy, yeah.
Hmm.
And I found it to be very useful. He put me through a couple of sessions, and I felt very light when I came out of it. So
Interesting.
I thought talk about it a little bit. And all. That's basically the kind of segments I have written about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in this span of time, almost close to 2 decades. In this time, you spoke about peers helping you, mentors helping you, and where does networking or the importance of networking do you see in your life? Did it help you to network, or did you gain out of networking in general?
One of the, it's been a mistake actually. Like initially, when a few years that I was in tech writing and doing that, then STC happens every year or every 2 years. Couple of initial years I went there, so I had a good kind of a rapport with people, and then kind of moved out, didn't attend, and so once you start getting business at home, right? You you kind of network on LinkedIn and people
Yeah.
kind of ping you. Can you do this? And some of them were on-site jobs where I did few months and then came back, and
Mhm.
some at home. Payments. Always kind of need to grab that because that's the last thing to happen and it takes time. But it was a pleasure working with a lot of people there. So good friends, and I just kind of I have their numbers and kind of call them. That's the way I network, and
Mhm.
LinkedIn is one of the most popular platforms, and I'm very active on LinkedIn actually.
Interesting.
So
Since
it's not like I go to seminars or
uh,
I am
it's
very
more online networking. Yeah.
online networking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once maybe people who want me to mentor them, kind of speak
Right.
in front of them, if they want
Right.
that, then maybe I'll think about going into seminars.
Interesting. And so here we uh, look at everything that you have done, and with this span of decades. So you have been two things which come to mind. So one, you have been an independent professional for quite some time. You have been working from home for many years, you mentioned. Now, these two are something which, in today's circumstances, a lot of, probably millions of people worldwide are being forced to. A lot of people are losing their jobs, so probably that's why they are choosing to go independent. A lot of people maybe just out of the situation, yeah, they think probably it's better to go independent. And
Yeah.
so these two things, being an independent professional and working from home, uh, what's your advice to people who are now trying to be an independent professional or been there for some time? And second, again, when they decide to work from home or they're already working from home, what will be your advice to them?
Unless until you're very lucky, it's going to take some time before you'll get projects, right? I mean, you just cannot start unless until you're very active somewhere in some circle where you know people who can give you some job, right? And you have good kind of relations with them, and you know that they have the first. You need to understand whether they have a job for you or not, right? So if you are in that circle and you have been there for some time, right? Things can happen, but if you just started and you kind of started networking now, then you need to be a little patient. Actually, I understand it's a bad time right now, and finances are pretty stiff for everybody. Companies are also feeling the pinch. It's not just people who are working in the company, or you know the big corporations are also kind of going through a downturn, right? So you need to be a little patient and kind of put a check on your spending. I always kind of think a lot about before I spend my money, right? Because you need to be prepared for the bad times. I learned it very badly in 2003 and 2009, and
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of saved a lot of money. I
Mm-hmm.
basically kind of didn't take a home loan or a very heavy loan where I have to repay 40,000 or 50,000 or 1 lakh rupee a month. right? So maximum I took a car loan, which was around 8 to 10K or 15K. So, I mean, you can get ambitious, right? I mean, you can get ambitious. Both of you can work and do a lot of things, But somewhere there has to be kind of a sanity, and you have to understand, bad times can come.
True.
Right? It's not always the good times. It's not always the bad times. Even these bad times are going to pass away.
Yes.
It depends, how long actually. So networking, if you're doing starting now, then there are different ways to do it. You can do it through different channels. You can do it through Facebook, Twitter, create a handle, create a page, become more active on LinkedIn, start
Mm-hmm.
posting what you can do, get a blog, write about, make people understand that you really know what you're writing, do, right? Write articles on about them, kind of promote it on Google a little bit, put it in the search engine. So maybe, another, I mean, I kind of understand another 6 months to 1 year, this thing will pass on.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be new normal because people always have a tendency to forget the bad things in life and move and move ahead in life.
Yeah.
So it depends how much time it is going to take.
Yeah.
Of course, we are going to be more cautious that another kind of different variation of corona doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But next time we'll be more prepared about it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And where do you see a service like Super Pro coming in for independent professionals? Since you came across us and then you registered, how do you see this playing a role?
Actually, Vijay called me one day, and I found it very exciting, right? And the kind of people we have been talking to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're super, right? I mean, I'm nowhere close to them, right? Actors and CEOs and all those people, right? So there's brilliant people you're talking to. You have a very good network. I heard you have a community of around 600 people already. You're working on that. And I would suggest I went through the Facebook and Twitter handle of Superpro, okay? And had a word with Vijay also. I wrote to you also.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
did
yeah,
why
yeah,
did
yeah.
we do
We
certain
will be doing that. Yes.
ad campaigns? Putting
Yeah.
some 150 rupees in 3 days, and that is a lot of audience, right? So
Yeah.
not a bad thing to do, right? Because more people, you get more engagement, get more viewership, and I think I'm pretty excited about it. And I think that it's going to go along.
Mm-hmm. So now that you are available on Super Pro, what is it that people can reach out to you for?
Um, it depends, right? I mean, I will be, as I've written over there in my profile, that I'll be doing some general career guidance if you want to do that. Then we'll be looking at, writing for different software product or, technology, writing articles, content, project management in documentation and content writing. I personally, one of the things I feel that is very important is, learning soft skills.
Interesting. Mm.
Learning soft skills. So I put that as an add-on at the bottom. Initially, I was a little hesitant, because I haven't taken too many, classes or coaching on soft skill, but
Mm.
I am at a level, where I can make them understand, what works and what doesn't work,
Mm.
and how you should approach people, what is the right time to talk, what is the right way to communicate, where mistakes happen,
Mm-hmm.
where miscommunication happens,
Mm.
what you should take care of, all those things. So, right, because one thing I've seen is we kind of get promoted, right? Like I became a manager, I was not a trained manager.
Mm.
We get promoted. We don't have a grounding in theory, what works and what doesn't work, right? So last 3 years, I've been taking a lot of courses on edX, on recruitment, on onboarding, on general business management, on finance. You can see a lot of lists, licenses in my LinkedIn profile. So some of them are in next year. You cannot put a future date over there. Licenses. So for example, the Harvard Business School core curriculum starting in Feb. And I have taken a course in Harvard Medical School on pre-medical certificate because I was very interested about talking about health, as I already told you, right? So yeah, I mean, a lot of things I can talk about, but soft skills definitely one of
No, great. Great. Just let me check if there are any questions by any chance. No, we haven't got any questions. Okay. And okay. No, this is really interesting. I think so. Whosoever you are watching, guys, be that live or recorded versions. I think if you have been in the IT industry for some time and either you have made up your mind to enter into this field of technical writing or around writing, or even if you are not sure but you want to figure out whether it would be a wise decision, I think you can reach out to Sumit and he'll help you figure it out. And of course, as Sumit pointed out, if you are even being in IT on the technical side of things, on the development side of things, I think what he highlighted as the soft skills, definitely doesn't matter whether you are in the development or even on the technical side. Soft skills matter a lot, and at times actually it's they are going to determine as well your career path and your career progress. So yes, if you are someone who want to work on your soft skills, yes, Sumit is the go-to guy. Please feel free to reach out to him on Super Pro page link. The link is shared in the comments already, and the link will be there in the description and comments as well on all different platforms. So please feel free to reach out to Sumit and feel free to book him on Super Pro. He'll be taking your calls and he can help you. Yeah.
all right. Nice talking to you, Gaurav.
The pleasure is all mine, Sumit. As we take. That's what I like about my job right now. That I get to talk to so many amazing people myself, and there is
Thank you,
always.
thank you for calling me amazing.
No, no, you are. And as I said, see, the most amazing part right now, which is very relevant, is what I highlighted even earlier, independent professional working from home and being able to really get to a level that yes, you are able to build your own brand and you are able to stay out, you are able to offer your services as an independent. You already have that experience, which I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of our super pros in
Can
fact
use.
can make use of. So thanks a lot, Sumit, for being with us today. It was really great. I'm sure everybody enjoyed, and those who will be watching it later on, the recorded version, I'm sure they will also like it. Um,
Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great rest of the week. Good night.
You too.
Take
Good
care.
night and take care.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.